Hey everybody, so my topic of the day today is Prosecco. I thought I would start with a sparkling wine as my topic of the day, seeing as it's just been the new year and everybody tends to drink fizz on New Year's Eve. So it kind of seemed appropriate. So I actually still have some Prosecco left over. This is my last glass from the bottle I bought from New Year's Eve. For anyone who doesn't know, because I know a lot of people drink Prosecco who don't necessarily know that much about it, even though they really enjoy it. It's made from a grape called Glera, and it's made in a part of Italy called Prosecco. So it's the region of Prosecco. So sometimes people get a bit confused with wine. Some wines are named after the grape variety they're made from, and some wines are named after the location they're made from. So that's the case with Prosecco, but the actual grape is Glera. And one of the great things about Prosecco is that it doesn't need to be aged, so it tends to be cheaper than champagne. It's got this really lovely fruity aroma, quite kind of like peachy, stone fruit. But it's also dry, so it doesn't really have enough residual sugar in Prosecco that you actually are drinking something really sweet like appetizer. It's still got the dryness of dry white wine. So it's been really appealing for the past, I'd say, 10 years. It's really risen in popularity. But one of the things I think is so interesting about Prosecco is that it's something that the MW, the Master of Wine, that was kind of my lecturer when I did my wine diploma, was talking about, which is that it's a soft brand. So I learnt about this when Michelle Cheruti Kowal was teaching me my diploma. And what she meant by soft brand is that the difference between Prosecco and, say, another sparkling wine like champagne is that in the world of Prosecco, there aren't like really any standout brands necessarily that people really look for when they go out and buy Prosecco. So, when you think about champagne, you've got like Perrier Jouet, you've got Veuve Clicquot, Bollinger, Krug. There are these names in the world of champagne that are kind of quite prestigious that people will look for, these famous champagne houses. The interesting thing from my perspective about Prosecco is that actually when I go shopping for Prosecco, bearing in mind like most consumers, I don't necessarily work in the Prosecco industry. I don't even work in the wine industry. I just kind of go for whatever's available, and there might be like a pound difference between different Proseccos. Like one might cost £7, one might cost eight, and then there might be another that costs £10. But I don't necessarily know if there's that much difference. And because Prosecco is a soft brand, when people go shopping for Prosecco like me, they don't really mind what brand they buy. So I wanted to give an example of like just the Prosecco I happened to buy. So I bought this one, which is called Maschio, and it's a DOC. And, most Proseccos are DOC. You can get DOCG. For anybody who doesn't know about DOC and DOCG, DOCG wines from Italy tend to be slightly higher quality because the place that they'll have been grown and like different factors like the climate and the soil, the geography of that area might be slightly superior and give a slightly better wine, arguably. That's why they would get DOCG written on the bottle. So this one is DOC. So for anybody who's never noticed this before, on, I don't know if you can see it, it's not very clear, but DOC is what most Proseccos tend to be. So that was the one I bought. But I didn't really think about it. I just bought it because it was on offer and it was reduced from maybe like £8 or £9 to £7. So, it's a really interesting time in the wine world for Prosecco because I feel like it is a soft brand. There aren't necessarily any brands that I think have really established themselves as leaders within the world of Prosecco. And it's an exciting time to be buying Prosecco because actually you get really good value because there's not like different tiers of price points because it's anyone's game. I think all wine growers who grow Prosecco can win because at the moment no one's calling out certain brands for Prosecco. That's my feelings about the subject. You might disagree. So if you're watching this and you swear by a certain brand of Prosecco, I would love to hear about it. Please comment on this video or send me a message and tell me, do you disagree? Maybe you think Prosecco isn't a soft brand, and maybe there's a brand of Prosecco out there that you swear by and you always go for. Let me know.